There are reports circulating around that the Tennessee Titans are looking to trade away star running back Derrick Henry. And I already know that if you're a Titans fan right now, you got to be feeling pretty hurt about this, because when you think about Tennessee Titans football, the first player that probably comes to the front of your minds is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has been the heart and soul of this organization for over the last couple of years. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Just the thought of Derrick Henry potentially playing for another team, it kind of hurts me too, because I live down south. I live in Florida, so we get a lot of the AFC South games televised down here. So I've watched a lot of Derrick Henry over the years. As a matter of fact, you pretty much can say I've grown up watching Derrick Henry play. So it's just a little weird just hearing reports coming out about how he could potentially be traded. And you understand why. It looks like the Tennessee Titans are trying to clear some cap space. Maybe they go all in on a rebuild. Maybe they're just trying to retool. But Derrick Henry, if he is indeed on the trading block, what are some potential landing spots for Derrick Henry? Now, he is 29 years old, but Hall of Fame players or Hall of Fame caliber players regress at a slower rate than your normal players do. So I think that Derrick Henry still has 3 to 4 years left of great play. He's in the final year of his contract. He's slated to make somewhere around $10 million this year. So what are some teams that could potentially trade for Derrick Henry? Well, the first one definitely has to be the Buffalo Bills. And even though they are $18 million under the cap, I don't really think that matters. If they want to get Derrick Henry, they can make it work. They do have Devin Singletary, who is slated to hit free agency. And then you're going to have Tremaine Edmonds and Jordan Poyer as well. And if you bring in Derrick Henry, you're probably not going to be able to retain both of those guys. But I think Derrick Henry would be a really good pickup for the Buffalo Bills. For those of you guys wondering, what do the Buffalo Bills have to do to get over the hump? Well, it may just be adding one more piece. You signed Von Miller in free agency last year, and he was really productive up until he ended up getting his season cut short. You bring in Derrick Henry, somebody who still is in his prime pretty much. He could be that missing piece that can help you get to the Super Bowl. And last season, the dude had 349 carries for 1,538 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns. He was averaging 4.4 yards per attempt. The Buffalo Bills could most definitely use that, considering the fact that they be running the hell out of Josh Allen. And if they want Josh Allen to be around playing into his late 40s or his mid 40s, they need to do a better job at limiting how much he does on the ground, limiting how many hits he takes. You bring in Derrick Henry, that without a doubt is going to improve the rushing attack for the Buffalo Bills. Then you include the fact that you still are going to have the ability of Josh Allen to make things happen with his legs. Him and Derrick Henry in the same backfield, I think that probably would be one of the scariest sights for any opposing defense. You already know how hard it is to tackle Derrick Henry. Then you got to worry about Josh Allen. Oh my goodness. And then you got Stephon Diggs. You got Gabe Davis. You got Dawson Knox. You add Derrick Henry to the mix in Buffalo. I don't get how they're not the favorites to make it out of the AFC. Now, there's another team in the AFC that I think would also be a really good fit for Derrick Henry, and they've been in the market for a star running back for a while, and that's the Miami Dolphins. And like the Buffalo Bills, they're under the cap by $15 million. But if they want Derrick Henry, I'm pretty sure they can make it work. Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Myles Gaskins are slated to hit free agency. So the Dolphins have a void that needs to be filled at running back, and it very well could be filled with Derrick Henry. The rushing attack last year was pretty good when they were able to get it going with Raheem Mostert. If they can beef up that offensive line a little bit, you add Derrick Henry to the mix, the Dolphins probably have the best offense in the NFL. You're going to have Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill on the outside, so you're going to have the speed there. Then you're going to have the raw power and strength of Derrick Henry to just wear down defenses, and then you can beat teams over the top with play action. Derrick Henry would add a different dynamic to this Miami Dolphins offense. It also would take a little bit of the load off Tua Tagovailoa. You give Mike McDaniel a Derrick Henry kind of talent at running back, I don't even want to think about how good and deadly this offense could be with them. And like I said, I know that the Dolphins are under the cap, and I know that they have other positions that they need to address, but I just think if you have the opportunity to get a guy like Derrick Henry, you go after him, regardless of your team needs, because the Dolphins are one of those teams who we perceive to be on the outside looking in of the Super Bowl conversation. So a guy like Derrick Henry could easily put them in the mix of being able to win the Super Bowl. And the last team that I think could be a potential landing spot for Derrick Henry are the Philadelphia Eagles. Miles Sanders is a free agent. They don't really have a lot of cap space, but they're probably going to free up some. They do have to re-sign a lot of core guys on defense. But let's face it, if Philadelphia has the opportunity to get Derrick Henry, they probably should take it, because then that offense with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, and then Derrick Henry, bruh, there's no way I don't think Philadelphia doesn't make it back to the Super Bowl again if they get their hands on Derrick Henry. And they both kind of have similar identities to the Tennessee Titans. They want to be physical. They want to be tough. It's just that the difference with Philadelphia and Tennessee is that Philadelphia actually is pretty fun to watch on offense. They're not boring. Tennessee, they're boring. They don't really do anything innovative. They're not really all that creative. They kind of just get to the point. And then Derrick Henry with the Philadelphia Eagles, he probably could end up having a couple of more years left, because I don't think they're going to end up running him into the dirt like Tennessee has over the last couple of years. Like 349 carries, dog. That's freaking ridiculous. Give the guy some break. So he goes to Philadelphia. You're going to have Jalen Hurts there with his rushing ability. Then you're probably going to have somebody else who's going to be able to spell Derrick Henry from time to time when he needs a break. I don't think that Derrick Henry is going to be getting over 300 plus carries if he goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think would be good for him at this stage of his career, because then you can preserve his body and you can have him playing at a high level for a longer period of time. And we already know that the Philadelphia Eagles have one of the NFL's best offensive lines. The offensive line that Derrick Henry was running behind in Tennessee wasn't all that great, and despite that, the dude still had over 1,500 rushing yards. So these are the three teams that I think could potentially trade for Derrick Henry.